Okay, we are going to go over my anime list. So I planned on making this video of literally going by, like literally making the list, but it ended up having some audio errors. So we're just going to go from just the list itself, which is probably going to be better for the viewing experience just because you all won't have to see me debating for a while over what I want to put stuff. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So this list is going to be everything I've watched in like the past year and a half, or no, not year and a half, like 3-ish years, I would say, maybe a little less than 3 years, but it's only going to be the stuff that I've watched recently enough to feel comfortable enough to give a ranking. Because there is some stuff that, like Pokemon, which I've watched, but I didn't even really know it was anime when I watched it when I was younger. And then just some stuff that I just have watched, like maybe a few episodes of that I just don't feel comfortable enough to give a ranking. So we're just going to get right into it. So we're going to go over everything that I've watched in around the last 3-ish years that I watched when I really knew it was anime. Because, like I said, I've watched some stuff like Pokemon, but I didn't really know it was anime when I was watching it. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So, um, starting with Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, I'm giving a 10. I've, and so the stuff in green is the stuff I've completely watched. The stuff in blue is what I've completed, and the stuff in red is what I've dropped. I don't really have anything on hold yet, and there is some series I plan to watch, but I just didn't go through and add those series to this list yet, just because, as you can tell, I'm kind of an anime newbie. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've watched series like not super consistently since in like the past 3 years. Like I go through stretches of watching a ton of stuff to not watching anything. So yeah, I just haven't been super consistently watching anime, even though I have watched a decent bit in the past 3 years. But there would be so much stuff on the plan to watch list that I just didn't even go through the plan to watch list. Um, but based off this list, I would love to know what you all would recommend me to watch. And I obviously do understand with making a video like this, it can be very controversial. So if you do disagree with anything, I'd love to know what it is and um, why, as well as what you would recommend me watching based off my list. So yeah, getting with Attack on Titan to begin with, I really loved Attack on Titan, and I have not completed Attack on Titan. I got all the way to the final season, but then once they started breaking it up in the parts, I was like, okay, I don't really want to wait up half a year or however it is for the next part. So I just got up to the final season, and then I decided I'm just going to wait till it's completely finished. Oh, and one other thing I will mention, almost all these series I watched in dub, so I'll be watching the final bit of Attack on Titan a little later than almost everybody else, but based off what I've currently watched of Attack on Titan, it is a 10, and I don't really see that score changing unless the ending I just absolutely hate, but I don't think I will. Based off what I have heard, I don't know exactly what happens, but based off the little bits I have heard, I don't think I'm going to hate how it ends, but we might end up revising this list at some point based off how that series ends. Next up, we have Cells at Work. Cells at Work is good. I didn't completely finish it. I've got it as episode 10. I don't remember the exact episode. I pretty much completed it, but there was a few episodes left. I got through it and then just kind of it was okay, just nothing great. So I thought a good 7 being like good was like the perfect score. And then Demon Slayer. I probably prefer Demon Slayer to Cells at Work. I will say. I don't know. I like the animation's obviously great, but I like just like story wise more than the animation is what I care about more. I guess I would say so. While I do think Demon Slayer has an okay story, it's just it wasn't super. I wasn't super drawn into it, and I just the characters are okay. Just I didn't really love any of the specific characters. I mean, I like Gyu a lot, but there wasn't like a specific character that drew me into the series to keep on watching it. But I did like Demon Slayer. It's just it was good. I know some people really love Demon Slayer, and I completely understand why. It's just for me, it's just good. And then we have Haikyuu. There is another sports anime on here which you can see a little bit, which is coming up. But Haikyuu, I got like all the way through season 1, and then partway through season 2, and then I ended up going like on vacation or something. So I just kind of took a break from it and just didn't pick it up back again after that. I do definitely plan on finishing Haikyuu. I really loved what I watched of it. And I actually did play volleyball, and I really loved Haikyuu. It was really good. I don't know. It almost just doesn't seem like anime. Like it just seems like almost exactly how volleyball goes. And honestly, I kind of like an anime. And I know there is a little bit more. Like it's not exactly exact real volleyball, but it seems almost just too real. Like I like there to be a little spice in my anime, I guess, and that's why the other sports anime is a little higher. Um, and then Jujutsu Kaisen, I made it all the way through season. So with um, Jujutsu Kaisen was the anime that I thought I would like. based off like really liking Naruto, everybody said that Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty similar, and I really think Jujutsu Kaisen is almost like Naruto just without its issues, which I will mention in a bit. But Jujutsu Kaisen is really great. I really loved it. I started seeing all the stuff for season 2 on like Instagram Reels and stuff, and then I was like, okay, I need to watch this. And I started it. I absolutely loved season 1. I really loved as far as I got into season 2. There is a little bit more of season 2. Like I haven't completely got through season 2, but I got like all the way past the past part, so I'm back into like the present part where like Megami and Yuji are back in it, and it's not just like Gojo and Geto and all like the former characters. But yeah, I really, really have loved Jujutsu Kaisen. Definitely a 10 for me so far. Now we'll get into what I have completed so far, and like obviously, like something like Blue Lock is probably going to get a season 2 at some point, but it hasn't yet, and the 10 is based off what I have watched. So Blue Lock, I absolutely love Blue Lock, and like I said, kind of like Haikyuu, I didn't play soccer. I wasn't a big soccer person. I didn't play soccer, or I know some people will call it football, but soccer is what it's called in the anime, at least in the dub. But I really did love Blue Lock. Like I said, I'm not even the biggest soccer person, but I absolutely loved the anime. There's really nothing I can say I disliked about Blue Lock. And I know it is a little over-exaggerated, and I really do like the competitiveness and like the egoism, I guess you would say, in the anime. I don't know, I really found it appealing and very interesting. And I do know, like, if for some people that like soccer, they did not like it at all. But I really love Blue Lock so far. And then Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man and Blue Lock are the two that I'm like, should I drop this one or should I raise this one? Because Chainsaw Man, literally, I love Chainsaw Man. I really don't even have any complaints with it. I will admit it is a little weirder in some spots, but I do really love Chainsaw Man. And yeah, I just really love the series. I just want to see more of it before I give it a 10 just yet, but I definitely could give it a 10. You know, actually, I am going to give Chainsaw Man a 10. Chainsaw Man's score could definitely change. And I will say, I really, really love Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man, it gives me a very similar vibe, or I guess, and maybe it's just because they're both made by MAPPA and both are like shonens that are a little bit darker, but it gives me a very similar vibe to Jujutsu Kaisen, at least so far. And I really love both those series. So yeah, as for the first 12 episodes, I really love Chainsaw Man and can't wait to see what's going to come of it. But I know that some people didn't love it for how it was adapted from manga, but I definitely really liked it. Then we have Code Geass. I absolutely love Code Geass. It's very similar to the series I have right below it, being Death Note, as far as like the intellectual stuff, and I really, really love that. I absolutely love Code Geass. Definitely one of my favorites. I think Code Geass is just about as perfect as the anime can get. And I know some people said it kind of falls off in the second season, but I still love the second season. I didn't really think it dropped off any. But yeah, I really loved it. I easily give Code Geass a 10 out of 10. And then Death Note. Death Note, for some people, how they say Code Geass drops off, I think Death Note drops off. I think the first half of Death Note, easy 10. No debate for me. I don't even think it's close. I think Death Note is an easy 10 to start with. But I definitely think Death Note drops off. I think after what happens halfway through the series, I think the second half of the series, I would get closer to a 7, honestly. But the first half being as good as it is, I think carries it up to the first half is easily a 10. So I evened it out at a 9, but I definitely think the first half is some of the best anime out there. And then Domestic Girlfriend. This was the first romance anime I watched, and I will admit it is a little weirder, but I did really enjoy it, actually. I do 100% admit it is a little on the weird side, but I definitely did enjoy it, so I gave it an 8. But yeah, I will 100% admit it definitely is on the weirder side, and definitely, maybe not the perfect show for everyone, definitely not, but I did like it. And then Hunter x Hunter. This was my first anime. I absolutely loved Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter actually has a really high ranking. I think it's in the top 10. But yeah, I definitely think it's deserving of that high of a score. I absolutely loved Hunter x Hunter. And literally the only complaint I have with the series is just the fact that it's not finished. But I mean, I think it's pretty well documented why it's not finished. But I do really hope it gets finished at some point. I don't know how realistic that is, but I really hope it does, because what we have seen so far of Hunter x Hunter, I think, is just amazing. And then Kaguya-Sama Love is War. I literally made a whole video dedicated to this series. I absolutely love Kaguya-Sama Love is War. I think it's perfect. It's got so much going for it. The romance, the comedy, it's just great. I literally watched it right after Domestic Girlfriend. I think it's the most recent anime I've watched. And yeah, I just absolutely love Kaguya-Sama. I think it's so great. It has some of my favorite characters. And just, I could go on. I mean, literally, I made a whole video on it. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Kaguya-Sama, I'll put a link to that video. But yeah, absolutely love that series. And then Kotaro Lives Alone. I like Kotaro Lives Alone. It's just one of those random little animes I happen to watch on Netflix. It's good, just nothing crazy, I'll say. I definitely liked it, but it's kind of whatever. I mean, I gave it a 7, so. And then Naruto. I know I gave it an 8, but honestly, if somebody asked me what my favorite anime was, there's a good chance I'm going to say Naruto. It's just between, and Shippuden's not on this list, and Shippuden I would give its own separate ranking. I haven't completed enough of Shippuden to give a solid ranking, but I definitely prefer what I've seen of Shippuden to the original series. I don't know, I guess I like more the age group that Shippuden is compared to the original series, so I like it better, I guess, and just it seems more serious. I don't know exactly what it is that makes me prefer Shippuden. I can't really put a finger on what the exact thing is, but I prefer Shippuden to the original series. So that alone, I have to give it a lower score than what I would have given Shippuden, and then just with the sheer amount of filler. And I did watch all the filler. I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be, but it is bad enough that I would give it a lower score based off with the filler. And sure, if you watched it without filler, Naruto's probably a 9 for me. And without Shippuden, it might be a 10. But with Shippuden being out there and with there being filler, I have to give it an 8. But I absolutely love Naruto, and really, if you asked me my favorite series, there's a good chance I would say Naruto. I'd probably say Hunter x Hunter, honestly, but I'd probably say Naruto or Hunter x Hunter. And then Parasite. Parasite was the first anime I think I really finished, because I started Hunter x Hunter, and then the last 2 seasons weren't on Netflix at the time, and that was like the only thing I was watching anime on at the time. So then I decided to start Naruto, Death Note, and Parasite. I didn't really decide to start all 3 of them. I just started one and then started watching the episodes of something else and then started watching the episodes of something else. But Parasite, I think, was the anime I technically finished first. And I did like it. It's good. And I honestly think it might have a higher score than a 7 if I rewatch it. It's just, I don't remember like absolutely loving it, but I remember liking it. So that's why I gave it a 7. And then this one might be my hot take on here, The Promised Neverland. And honestly, if you just see The Promised Neverland, you're probably thinking, oh, he was probably basing this off the 2nd season. And my score is kind of based off that, but not completely, because if you'll see here, I've got it as 7 out of 12 as the episodes, which is only season 1. And the reason why it's got this low of a score is I watched halfway through The Promised Neverland, and I was like, okay, this is okay, nothing I'm really loving. And then literally everything I'd heard about The Promised Neverland was the show gets drastically worse in the 2nd season. And I was like, okay, I'm not loving this in the 1st season. And if it gets this much worse in the 2nd season, why in the world am I even going to waste the time to watch this? So yeah, and I mean, honestly, I think if I rewatched The Promised Neverland at this point, I would give it a higher score, at least the 1st season. But just the fact that I was just kind of okay with the series. I mean, I definitely see why people liked it, but it just didn't seem like the series for me, especially at the time. And the fact that I knew it got drastically worse, I just didn't see any point in finishing the series. So honestly, I probably shouldn't give it a score just yet, but based off what I did watch of it and just knowing what ends up happening, that was the score I ended up giving it. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video, at least as far as the list itself. But I would love to know your thoughts on my list, especially if you have any disagreements or anything you would. I would love to know what you disagree with, but even more than that, I would love to know any recommendations. Like, I didn't put anything on my plan to watch list just yet, but like, there's a ton of series that I plan to watch. Honestly, there's probably a higher list of stuff I plan to watch than stuff that I rank, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And honestly, I'm kind of torn if I just want to watch Full Metal Alchemist or Brotherhood first. I know everybody says Brotherhood's way better, but I just don't know what I want to do with that. And then, like, obviously One Piece, but I want to finish Naruto Shippuden, just because I don't want to get into a super long series while watching another long series, because I've realized after watching multiple series at one time and watching one series at a time, watching one series at a time is way, way better, or at least I like doing that way better. So I definitely plan on watching One Piece at some point, but I want to finish Shippuden at least first. And then there's just a bunch of other good short animes, and like, romance animes are some of the ones I've watched more recently that I really like, even like Domestic Girlfriend being as weird as it is. Domestic Girlfriend and Kaguya-Sama Love is War are literally the 2 animes I've watched the latest. So I am really liking the romance animes I've seen. So yeah, I'm really getting back into anime. So I would love to know anything based off what I ranked, what you would think. And I will say, I will say one thing specifically that you might think I would like. I know I gave the sports animes that I watched high scores. I don't really think I would specifically like sports animes though. I think Haikyuu I just really like because it's volleyball. I'll say if Haikyuu was literally any sport other than volleyball, I don't think I would like it near as much. It's just the fact that I played volleyball. And then I really liked Blue Lock just because it's such exaggerated sports. Like, it seems like just a shonen and not really a sports anime. And just like the idea of, being in like a sports camp type thing where you're just forced to compete in a battle royale style. I think that's what I like about Blue Lock. So I will say it looks like I really like sports animes. I don't really think I'm the biggest sports anime fan. I just think it's the two that I've watched I just personally like. But like, I definitely think like these like IQ animes, like the ones where they use intelligence a lot, like Code Geass, Death Note, and even Kaguya-Sama. I definitely really like those, and even like Attack on Titan, like the politics animes, I guess you would say, like Attack on Titan, I really like. And I just really like a good shonen like Jujutsu Kaisen or even Hunter x Hunter. So yeah, I think this was a good list. I debated on doing a tier list or MyAnimeList, and I just decided MyAnimeList makes way more sense to do. And yeah, I will say definitely these scores could definitely change as I watch more anime, because I will 100% admit I have not watched a ton of anime. I mean, literally, there's 16 on here. There should be way more. And one other thing, these scores are based off, like Attack on Titan. I think there's literally you can do like based off each season. This is based off the whole series that I've watched so far, and like Kaguya-Sama. This is also counting the movie. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and once again, if you have any anime recommendations specifically based off my list, or any criticism that you would like to disagree with, just let me know. And especially like one of the animes like Parasite or even The Promised Neverland that I watched like nearly 2 years ago. Maybe if I rewatched those series, I would have higher scores. But I mean, 7's really not that bad. I mean, I will 100% admit 5 is not that good for The Promised Neverland, especially for season 1. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my thoughts on the series. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'm out. And really hope to see what you all recommend for me.